heading back to Haddonfield, folks, to check in on the revenge of Michael Myers. Let's get into it. Back to my channel. Hope you're all doing well out there. Today we're going to take a trip back to Haddonfield, Illinois. But before we head to Illinois, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe. Join me here. Great, would appreciate that. Today we're going to talk about Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. Now, I've reviewed this a couple years back, but we're going to reevaluate this film. I just watched it for the first time in a few years last night and figure what the hell, let's talk about this bad boy. This film dropped October 13th of 1989. It's rated R, like the rest of the Halloween films. An hour and 36 minutes long. Had a budget of $5 million, same budget as Part 4, and it only grossed 11.6, which was a disappointment. That's why we didn't get a Halloween film after this for 6 years. Now, coming off of the success of Part 4, critically, very much fan-liked Part 4 is, and how well received that was, Mustafa Akkad wanted to strike while the iron was hot. So this was quickly rushed into production. I mean, it came out just under a year since the release of Part 4. Now, they offered Dwight Little the job to come back and direct. He turned him down. He was getting ready to go off to make Marked for Death with Steven Seagal, and then he would do Rapid Fire with Brandon Lee. So they were scrambling for a director. They had a partially written script, and they had ideas. They were originally going to make Jamie the new Michael Myers, but Mustafa Akkad figured the fans wanted the shape, so they scratched that, rewrote the script, although still only had a partial script. And Deborah Hill, none other than Deborah Hill, recommended a filmmaker by the name of Dominique Othin-Girard. He's a French filmmaker, and Mustafa Akkad met with him, and they hired him on pretty much right away because they wanted to get moving, and they were going to shoot in Salt Lake City once again. Now, Donald Pleasance is back as Dr. Loomis, the ever-present, always reliable. Danielle Harris is back as Jamie, and they make her fucking mute for 3/4 of this film, which is one of the negatives. Ellie Cornell is back as Rachel. We'll talk about her character because she gets shortchanged. And Don Shanks came in to play Michael Myers. Now, they did say that George Wilbur, who played Michael Myers in Part 4 and would come back to reprise the role in Part 6, wasn't interested. George Wilbur said in interviews, if you've ever seen any interviews with him, that it was director's preference that they didn't ask him to come back. So who knows, but that's the way it went down. Now, right in the beginning of this film, it picks right up at the end of Halloween 4. We see Jamie touching Michael's hand. She gets up, starts walking away. Michael pops up, and we see the cops shoot him, and he falls into the mine shaft. Then we cut to brand new footage. Michael starts crawling out of this mine shaft towards this river. The cops throw dynamite in a hole. Big explosion, but too late. Michael's already out of the fucking hole and into a river, and he takes the current down the river, grabs a fishing net, gets out of the water, and then we're introduced to this old man hermit. Now, we're going to talk about, there's two ways this was shot. We'll talk about that later. And this old man hermit, who has a parrot for some reason in the middle of the woods, who knows? Anyway, Michael tries to choke him. He falls down because he's weak. And we cut to 1 year later. We're reintroduced to Jamie. Now she can't talk. She's a mute after she stabbed her stepmother. She didn't kill her, but now Jamie can't speak. She can only make like noises like that. So she wakes up with a nightmare, and she envisions now her and Michael have a link, a psychic link, and Jamie can see what Michael is doing or what he's going to be doing or whatever. And Michael wakes up, puts the mask back on. Now this scene, especially on the Scream Factory box set, the remaster, and on my 4K TV upscaling, you can see Don Shank's face clear as day. They don't hide it very well. Puts the mask on, kills the old man, starts heading back to Haddonfield for some more mayhem and to take revenge on the town of Haddonfield for shooting him in that goddamn mine in the first place. We're reintroduced to Rachel. She comes to visit Jamie in the clinic. We're introduced to Tina, Rachel's friend since last year. And I know Tina's a big point of contention for a lot of Halloween fans. She doesn't bother me as much, but she can be annoying as hell. It's an odd choice for this character considering what they do with Rachel, because Rachel only makes it 20 minutes in the movie. We see her reintroduce, or have a scene with Danielle Harris or Jamie, and then she talks to Loomis for a few minutes, goes home and has a shower, and she's killed unceremoniously a couple minutes later. She's only 20 minutes of this film, and for a character that was so built up and was so tough and pulled through and protected Jamie in Part 4, they kill her off in such a bullshit way. One of the many negatives of this film, it's like, if they go to kill her, that's fine, but keep it for the end of the film so there's more emotional weight. The way they do it, there's nothing. It's like, oh shit, they killed one of my favorite characters from Part 4. And then Tina kind of becomes the main lead along with Danielle Harris's character, Jamie. Michael's stalking around. We're introduced to Tina's friends, and there's this party at this farm, and Jamie is still seeing visions of Michael, and she knows where he's going to be and who he's after. And basically, it culminates in they use the Myers house and Jamie as bait. Loomis does, because in this film, Loomis is a complete psychotic asshole in this film. And the cops are there waiting for Michael, and he sets them up because he attacks the clinic. All the cops leave except for 2 cops and Loomis. Michael shows up, kills the 2 cops, chasing Jamie. Loomis tries to stop him, and then finally Loomis drops a chain net on him, shoots him with a bunch of tranquilizer darts, beats the shit out of him with a 2x4, and Loomis passes out on top of Michael. Originally, Loomis was going to die in this film, but they left it ambiguous, so he was able to come back for part 6. And then the cops put Michael in the jail cell with his mask on. I didn't know the cops would let you keep a mask on in your jail cell, but they do here. I guess we're not supposed to question it that much. And then the man in black, who was introduced during this film and shows up in a few brief scenes, shoots at the police station, blows open the fucking door, breaks Michael out. Jamie's crying at the end, and that's the end of Halloween 5, Revenge of Michael Myers. Now, a little backstory. I used to watch this film at nauseum. The first two of the first three VHS tapes I've ever bought when I was a kid were Halloween 4, Halloween 5, and Salem's Lot. I would watch Halloween 4 and Halloween 5 all year long, all the time I wore those goddamn tapes out. I used to really, really like this film. Over the years, getting older, seeing the flaws, there's a lot of flaws in this film. First of all, originally Jamie was going to be the killer. There was a script written, and that was the angle they were going to take. But Mustafa Akkad thought, no, people want to see the shape. They didn't have enough balls to follow through with that, so they rewrote the script. They went into production with a script that wasn't finished. The director came in and did some rewrites, and then they brought some more people in to do some rewrites. This was a very rushed production. Making Jamie not talk, if you're going to retcon what happened in 4, although they still go with it, but her stepmom's alive, and now she's in this, she can't speak, and she's in this clinic in Haddonfield. To make her, one of your main characters, not speak for pretty much 60 or 70% of the film is a huge mistake. And then they kill off Rachel in the first 20 minutes, unceremoniously, a character everybody loved from part 4. Those are 2 big mistakes right there. And as I get older and watch this more, it really doesn't work, and it's just bullshit. And then making Tina kind of the main lead for a little while, and some of her friends they're there. There's not much characterization. When Michael kills them, you don't really give a shit, honestly. You really don't. And then Loomis is a psychotic. They turned Donald Pleasance's character, Dr. Loomis, who was always on the line of maybe people might think he's a little crazy. But in this one, he's unhinged. He's unlikable. He's a complete asshole to Jamie. I would be scared of him if I was her age. He's in her face. He's screaming at her. I mean, he's completely unhinged. Now, I've read that Donald Pleasance wasn't happy with portraying the character that way, but he was pushed to. And him and the director argued over it, but Donald Pleasance did what the director wanted it. And you could tell on screen, it just doesn't seem like the Loomis we've known up until this point. Now, people change. He's been through a lot, but Loomis is just a psychotic asshole in this film. And he uses Jamie for bait. This is all character traits that he would have never done before in any other film. But in this one, it's like, screw it, let's do it. And that's what they do. The Myers house all of a sudden has mutated into a huge Victorian mansion. They couldn't find a house similar to the original location in Pasadena, where John Carpenter shot the original film. They were in Utah for 4 and this one, Salt Lake City. Which is funny, they filmed part 6 in Salt Lake City, and the one in part 6, even though it's not quite the original house, looks a lot more closer to that house than this one. This one's just like all of a sudden the Myers lived in a huge mansion. None of it makes sense. Then the Man in Black character comes out of nowhere. They pull that out of the ass. They introduced that tattoo on Michael's wrist. Now, originally, we talked about the old man in the beginning of this review. Originally, there was a scene shot. It's on the Halloween 5 4K. It was part of that scene was released on the Anchor Bay Special Edition 10 way back when I owned that edition. I remember watching that scene. It doesn't go on as long as the more footage they have now on the 4K, but I've seen part of that where it was a younger guy. His name was Dr. Death. Found Michael, and he had a bunch of occult stuff and where Michael was laying with even with the old man. You can still see some markings on the side. It was like this altar, and you perform all these rituals. And supposedly there was a version of the script where he tattooed Michael with that thorn symbol. that gets way elaborated on in part 6 because they had to explain who the hell the Man in Black was, which they do, because nobody knew who he was. They didn't figure it out in part 5. They said, oh, part 6 can figure that out. That's a really shitty thing to do. You're writing the part 6 people into a corner already. You have to explain this guy that comes out of nowhere. But that's what we're dealing with here. I don't think the movie's that great directed either. It's okay, but it's not as solidly directed as part 4. I think some of the lighting choices look like shit. I don't like the mask. K&B came in and do the mask. I didn't think the mask in part 4 was all that great. This mask is slightly, I don't know, it's probably on par with it. After watching this again last night, I kind of changed my mind. I said previously that part 5's mask is a little bit better. I think it's a wash. I don't think this mask is any better. And I don't really, Don Shanks seems like a very nice gentleman watching the interviews and that, but I don't like his portrayal as Michael Myers either. George Wilbur was way better. They should have asked him back. I'm glad they fixed that in part 6 and brought him back. But I don't care for Don Shanks' performance. And then Michael with the tear taking the mask off, it's like, you just ruined any mystique Michael had by doing that shit. It's dumb. It's unnecessary. You're overcomplicating things. And this movie's just a mess of a film. I used to love this as a kid. Now I just see all the problems that are throughout this film. It's okay. You can find some enjoyment out of it, but it's not a great film. And it's definitely, probably in my mind, the second worst Halloween film in the series. Now I'll re-rank the franchise when Halloween Ends drops in October, but yeah, this film doesn't hold up over time. Like I said, when I was a kid, I loved it. Now it's like it's a hot mess of a film. There's a lot of issues here. They introduce a lot of complicated shit that don't need to be there. They should have kept it simple. Simple's always better with these films, and that's what Part 4 did so well. And this one, they just dropped the ball. But yeah, so at the end of the day, Halloween 5, Revenge of Michael Myers, I would give this one a 4 out of 10. There's a few things in there, like I think Danielle Harris gives a good performance. Ellie Cornell's good, but she's not, nothing to do, and they kill her off quickly. Donald Pleasance, I hate his performance here in this one. It's not that he's bad. I just hate his character arc here. It sucks. Yeah, 4 out of 10 for Halloween 5, the Revenge of Michael Myers. What are your thoughts on this sequel? Leave a comment down below. Let me know. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, share this video. I greatly would appreciate that. I'll be back with my Part 3 timeline in the Halloween franchise with some more reviews coming up. Hope you're all doing well out there. I'll see you soon. Bye.